In 1989, Eddie Murphy, at the height of his power, wrote and directed the classic Harlem Nights. This week, we will discuss whether or not it still holds up.
I'm Matt.
I'm Chad, and you're watching episode 147 of your award winning podcast. We used to talk about this at work. All right, so jumping right in here, Matt, we have our first listener question, and I want to know: do you want to do this at the top of the show, or is this something that we hold off until the end of the show?
Um, let's do it at the end,
Ooh, why is that?
just to give if this becomes a thing and more people send us questions, then honestly, they have to wait to the end of the show to see if it's their question or not.
I like that. I like that a lot. So, time of recording, Matt. Super Bowl is tomorrow. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. I think my Chiefs gonna pull it off. But speaking of the Super Bowl, I was listening to another podcast and they were talking about Super Bowl one, and then how there is no footage of the broadcast version of Super Bowl one, and that's because back in the day they didn't record it or save it. They wrote over the tape, or they recorded over the tape.
Like Doctor Who.
Sure.
That's what
Um,
happened famously, because the show's like super fucking old, like in the
mhm,
60s. And
mhm.
like there's just whole episodes that people will never see because once they recorded it and aired it, they were like, all right, we don't need this anymore.
Basically 100%, the exact same thing. So you have clips of like stuff being shot in the stadium, but you never get to see what the people at home was watching. And long story short, blah 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 things happened. There was one person who worked at a place. He recorded what they saw. And in order to see it, you have to go to this place and you can't record and blah blah blah. That's not the point of the story. The point of the story is he talked about what the listeners was or watched what the viewers were watching, and they talked about halftime show, and he was like, the halftime show was a marching band, and I was like,
Oh,
oh,
are
so
we
they
about to talk about In Living Color?
yes.
Okay.
Did you already know? How long have you known this?
Few years.
Okay, I did not know this. So I went to see all the past history since the first Super Bowl in 1967 to now, all the different halftime shows. Excuse me. And basically it was like marching bands and like variety show type stuff until 1992. And the reason for that is because Fox was had a living color and everything, and they decided to have for the Super Bowl was on CBS, and so Fox did a thing. They're going to do a live and living color during halftime, and they even had a countdown clock on the show to let people know, hey, this is when you need to switch over. And majority of the sketches were live, but of course, like the Fire Marshal Bill stuff, that was pre-recorded and everything. They had Men on Movies, Fire Marshal Bill, and some other stuff. Um, and that drew over 20 million viewers to from the switch over from CBS to Fox. And CBS and NFL didn't like that. So they was like, we need to do better. So the next year, you know who they got?
Michael Jackson.
That is 100% correct. So the halftime show that we have now is basically because of A Living Color.
Yeah, I mean that's wild that for which number Super Bowl was that in 92?
Um, Super Bowl.
Because that's wild that they went for decades of Super Bowls and they're just like doing some lame stuff. Like I get it. Like I mean, I guess it was still a ratings draw even back before you had like a crazy big famous like person doing the halftime show. Like a lot of people like football, so it was getting getting views.
Well, they said like during that time it was that's right, Roman numerals. XXV11. What is that? 10,
What year
27?
what
20,
year
27.
okay, I was like, what year was the first one? We could circle around this.
I, I I I know X is 10, I think V is 5, so we're gonna say 27. That's
It's
not
fine.
right at all.
Sh- sh-
Because if
sh-
it's the
sh-
first one was at 67, 8. Yeah, that might be right. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, we not gonna hurt our pretty little heads with math, even though I'm an accountant.
The NFL just use regular numbers. 93 is the one where Michael Jackson was there.
They over here trying to seem more like what's the word I'm looking for? More fancy than they are. That's all it is. Um, yeah, that's wild. And it's wild that they got Michael Jackson, who, granted, if this was the 80s and you got Michael Jackson, like that's something. But early 90s Michael Jackson was still pretty damn popular.
Right. And I went back and I watched In Living Color show.
Uh-huh.
Hmm, some of these jokes was not funny at all. But the crowd
Let's
was eating it up, but
let's put a pin in that language.
hmm?
Let's put a pin in comments like that for now, okay?
Okay. Um
I want to say that I understand that they make arrangements for the Super Bowl like months in advance, right?
mhm,
Like the halftime show, I mean.
mhm.
But I just feel like they could have been like, Usher, we know that we agreed for you to do this because Usher's doing a Super Bowl halftime show, right?
Right.
But they like we kind of have to have Swifty do it.
They say like maybe they will have a cameo.
Maybe she'll slide up there. I mean, I don't see how she can't. Like, she kind of has to. She kind of has to. But like,
It only makes sense. I mean, after the season that happened, it only makes sense for her to show up.
but it's just I hate to advocate in Black History Month of all months to bump a black man for an affluent white woman, but
Hey man, I don't know her catalog like that. Maybe she already has a track with Usher or something that he can incorporate in there. I don't know.
that's a good question. I don't think they do. But let's see. Taylor Swift featuring Usher. No.
Or maybe if he does My Boo, she can replace Alicia Keys.
See, now fuck that. If he does my boo, Alicia Keys better show up. Ooh, actually, wait, isn't he doing this with somebody?
I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
normally people come out. It's not he's a main person, but usually if they have like duet songs or songs with other people, they usually have other people come up there and do some things.
I'm just thinking, well, I'm thinking about last year, like when Rihanna did that amazing performance by herself.
Hmm.
I mean, cause like I didn't really think about it, but like Rihanna has so many hits.
Right.
I'm doing a tangent, but what I'm saying is like Usher also has a lot of hits, and he can fill like was it 20 minutes?
Something like that.
You want to tell us a story, Matt, in 3 parts?
Well, I want to get your. I think I love how this is how podcasters work because we just be saying anything on the mic, and two how social media works. So I sent you a video. I want you to watch this video and then just let me know your thoughts on what happens.
When asked to come in for an 8 a.m. meeting, my Gen Z new hire said, "Ugh, sorry, I can't make it. I have a workout class. Should this be allowed?"
My visceral reaction was, are you fucking kidding me?
No, fully, like angered, typing this out. I was like, please.
Like my hand's shaking and it's not from the caffeine.
You just started this job. I don't give a flying shit about your workout class. Also, an 8 a.m. workout class is too late. Workout at 6,
Yeah.
maybe 7.
Or after work if you're not a morning person.
Completely.
Okay, why are we watching this?
Because all right? Do you think it's okay for a new hire person to say that they can't make it to a phone meeting or whatever because they have a gym class?
I don't think it's okay for any employee to say that. Me personally.
Okay. Play the next
Um.
video.
Okay. Oh, I'm assuming this is a rebuttal.
Yes.
Right, yeah, Natalie. So we can talk about this more later, but I'm gonna address this now. It was made very clear during the interview process that the working hours for this position is between 9 to 5 p.m. Eastern time, and I am on Eastern time. I made that very clear with HR because I have commitments outside of work. I go to the gym, I work out because I care about my health. Sure, I can make a sacrifice to go to an 8 a.m. meeting had I known at least a week before that I needed to go at 8 a.m., not a day before. Also, my workout class starts at 7:30, not at 8, but I didn't know that I needed to tell you that. Okay, let's just say I skipped the gym. Two things. When can I expect you to reimburse me for my class? And
What?
two, are you going to be paying me from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., or at the very least, let me leave at 4 p.m.?
Huh?
Natalie, if your answer to both of those are no, then there's no discussion needed. I will see you at 9 o'clock today. Also, yeah, I sent an email to HR about this and sent them the link to that TikTok video. So, just to make things clear.
What? Okay,
Now, what are your
so
thoughts now?
okay, so they asked him to get on a call an hour before his shift starts.
Correct.
If I'm watching that video correctly. Then I mean I I'm not 100, like I feel like I need a little bit more information, but like is this a regular thing? Is this an irregular thing? Like is this a conversation that would have been had with his supervisor and that if he starts work an hour early, does he get off an hour early? Like I'm with him to a degree, but I need some more information, I feel like.
Okay. So of course, you know, social media does social media things, and
They
they
found
went on
out
a
that man has some dirt in his closet and now he's canceled.
no, the other way. They agreed with him and they went up against I guess the woman's name is Natalie. They went against Natalie. So the last video is her response to everything.
Everyone, I'm the person in that video. First things first, we made the decision to take down the video, so it's no longer there. We got a lot of heat, and rightfully so. It was getting vicious in the comments. We decided to take it down. To be clear, we fully deserve this heat. I do feel like with many things on the internet, a little context helps. And I think what we didn't do is provide that context, and that is on us. First of all, I want to clarify. I went straight into reading a listener story that was submitted. And it sounded like I was just talking about my own Gen Z employee that I was disgusted with for working out at 8 a.m. in the morning. This has nothing to do with me, my company, anyone who works for me. This is a listener submitted story from someone who works in consulting. This is the email with the additional context we were given. This is one meeting that happens quarterly that they can include all of their international team members on. It's just something that's part of the team ethos, and I guess it's communicated to all new hires before they sign. And it is to include those team members in Europe and India, and it's obviously hard to find a time that works for everyone. Just to be clear, if you're not getting paid to work before 9 a.m., you do not have to work before 9 a.m. Do not condone that in the slightest. This is for a salaried employee once a quarter. Do not know what their salary is, but I looked up consulting salaries and it's somewhere within the range of 100 to 120 base. So it's not an hourly employee. If you are hourly or you work a job that the hours are strictly 9 to 5, please do not work outside those hours. You're not getting compensated for it, and that's not worth it. Again, the way the social clip was cut and just the things we were saying and how we were reacting and getting so fired up about it, totally take ownership for that. We will take the heat. We will wear it. If you want to attack us in the comments, absolutely go for it. I love you all. I support all of you in your work decisions. And if you want to do an 8 a.m. workout class, go for it.
So it says we tell every new hire about this meeting when they sign. These meetings are included. I can't. Okay. Um, but also, okay, this is not a regular meeting. This was communicated to this individual when they started the job, like when they were hired. I'm confused as to his Dolores Umbridge here. I'm confused.
That cause where it gets twisted to where she said that it does not apply to her, but the guy was specifically replying back to her, like he works for her or whatever, like that. Now the letter she said is just a question she was reading from a listener or whatever.
No, 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 no. What I'm saying is in the letter is like the guy that responded is responding to his boss, not podcast lady, right?
No, he's responding to her. That's
But,
why he says Natalie. He's responding to her. That's why he said I'm gonna take this to HR.
but I'm confused because she was reading a listener question. The person that they were talking about on the podcast is not her employee, but the man that did the rebuttal is her employee.
Yes, because she said she, when she read that off, that guy said, "You're talking to me," and I guess the exact same scenario happened. But then she came on the rebuttal. She said, "Oh no, she was listening to a listener question." So that's what people are saying. If how are you listening? How are you reading a listener's question with the exact same thing that's happening to one of your real life employees? So people
Right.
feel like she's making that up after the fact.
Okay, because yeah, that was like super confusing. If this okay, hold up. We're gonna go back. This is for the record, Matt, I'm mad at you because of all this fucking editing I have to do of this shit specifically. Just so we're
But you're
clear.
but you're loving me because this is good content.
Not really, because it's not really coming together well. Because I'm confused. We gotta run shit back. That's bad radio.
I'm the
Go
person in that
no
Wait,
wait,
I thought I
go
closed
to the
that. Where's the
her
other
first
one?
video.
Yeah, I thought I clicked that.
When asked to come in for an 8 a.m. meeting, my Gen Z new hire said, "Ugh, sorry, I can't make it. I have a workout class. Should this be allowed?"
My visceral reaction was, "Are you fucking kidding
I
me?"
mean,
No, fully, like
she's
anger,
looking
typing this
down.
out. I was like, please.
Like my hand's shaking and it's
Wait,
not
wait,
from the caffeine.
go back. She says her hands was shaking when she was typing this out.
Action was, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
No, fully, like anger, typing this out. I was like, please.
Like my hand.
Okay, so I feel like the clip. I feel like this is a situation where you really do need to watch the pod because like you can clearly see the cuts.
Mm-hmm.
So I sometimes do that with our podcast clips where like I need to I personally all of our clips I keep them within 60 seconds. So like I need to cut around some things to get to the point. So like the context of what we're talking about is kind of shifted from what it's kind of shifted from what I have to present within 60 seconds.
Right, right.
So I don't know, like I feel like, well, I know the internet. They only went off the clip, and I feel like and I know the answer to this question. Did you listen to the podcast for context?
No, not at all.
Okay. Okay.
I took it as first when I first watched it, I was like, I was on Natalie's side. I was like, yeah, you crazy for trying to do something like this. Then I listened to his part and I was like, okay, well, I guess if that's where you at and you specify that you can't do things, you can only do things during these working hours, I get that. And then her response when she was like, she took the video down and how and she agreed with everything he said. I was like, well, that usually happens. You go off and you say things, and then once people, especially when you get HR involved, then they have to retract their statement and things like that. So it's
Also,
just a tale
uh,
of two videos. My opinion changed from watching the first one to watching the second one.
who is this woman?
Uh, she's one of us. She's a podcaster, man.
Like, what is like? They have a what kind of podcast is this? What is happening here?
I'm not that familiar with them.
What's their shit stuff called?
Demoted podcast. Yeah, that's them.
Okay, they got a episode 4 days ago called "We Got Canceled." That's funny. So let's see. Demoted podcast. I am not a fan of you guys not saying what your shit is. Like there's no like description as to what this show is.
Tune in every week to witness Corp and Natalie unpack the current state of the workplace. You get a whole lot of unsolicited advice, heated debates over office etiquette, hilarious role plays, crazy workplace stories submitted by listeners, and more. They're like the work besties you wish you had, or maybe not.
Hmm. Okay, so the episode in question, I believe, is 48 minutes long, but they don't do show notes, so I can't find it specifically when they're talking about this.
Uh-huh.
So that's not cool, guys. I mean, granted, well, whoever, I doubt that they edit their own show. I fucking hate doing show notes, but it's super helpful. So just throwing that out there. I kind of wish we talked about this offline first.
I thought about that because I originally I was going to talk about the Monique episode on Club Shay Shay,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't as spicy as the Cat Williams, so I kind of lost interest and I didn't finish watching it. So I was like, I can't talk about that now. So I was like, what else do I have to talk about? And I was like, oh, I have those videos I saved. Let me put something together for that. Maybe that'd be something good to talk about.
Hmm. Yeah, I would have liked to have looked into this first. Because I would like the context of the full context of what they said on the show, you know.
Right. Hey man, you can cut it all out if you want to.
We will come back to this conversation next week. How about that? Yeah. Well, I guess it is that time, Matt. This week we discuss Harlem Nights.
1938, the Knights belonged to Harlem. The place to be was Club Sugar Ray. The man to know was Quick.
Now, when you see Quick, I suggest you guys make plans to go elsewhere.
I ain't afraid of going up against Smalls or Calhoun.
That's because you're young.
During the 1930s, a New York City illegal gambling house owner and his associates must deal with strong competition, gangsters, and corrupt cops in order to stay in business. Have you seen this movie before, Matt?
Yes.
Really? Tell me more about that.
Honestly, kind of recent too, within like the last 2 to 3 years.
Was that the
I
first time
remember,
you saw it?
huh? No, I remember vaguely seeing this like when I was younger as a kid and stuff. Um, but then I don't know what made me or whatever, but I watched it probably like 2, 3 years ago for the like as an adult remembering everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's this time. Um,
I've never seen this movie before.
you
Like
just never it just never came up or you just never wanted to, or what's the reason why?
I was aware it existed. And I remember back in the day when there was, going to the video store and seeing it on the shelf, and I thought that the cover looked interesting, and I also thought the plot was very different than what it was. Um,
What do you think the plot was?
I thought it was one of those movies set in one night, and like there was like a big misunderstanding. Like Eddie and Richard could like witnessed a crime, but the police thought it was them, so they are trying to get through the night and prove their innocence, and they come along like different casts of characters. I thought
Gotcha.
that's what the movie was.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just I had no interest in seeing it. It's like I've never I mean it's quite a few movies I haven't seen. Like I've never seen Golden Child.
I haven't seen that either.
Yeah. So it's I don't know, it's a lot of like quote unquote classics that I've never seen, but I mean I understood that this is like, supposedly black required watching or whatever. And so yeah,
But with that being said, what did you think about it?
I did not like this movie at all.
Why not?
It so I'm gonna say this. I feel like if I would have watched this movie like in the 90s, I would have probably liked it. But like it wasn't funny it to me. Like it felt like the kind of comic some of the it felt like Eddie Murphy getting to do Eddie Murphy things that people like about Eddie Murphy in the 80s. Like a lot of it, like a lot of the shticks that he was doing reminded me of some stuff from his stand up. But also, it also reeked of a movie with no true oversight because this is Eddie Murphy at the height of his fucking powers. Like he fucking created a fucking music career. He's a comedian. My girl likes to party all the time. What? What are we doing here? And so he wrote and directed this movie. And so, like, who's telling him this shit ain't funny? Who's telling him to cut this scene? You know, like shit's going on too long. Shit's not funny, and he's just doing it. That stupid ass, annoying ass Eddie Murphy fucking laugh and shit. Like, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. This movie opens with a flashback to him as a kid, and that kid shoots a man in the head. And the ruthless child at the beginning of this movie is not the man that we see as an adult 20 years later.
It's implied, but you don't see it.
No. What I'm saying is they're the same person, but I'm saying that kid is a fucking ruthless killer, and the adult version is Eddie Murphy. But the problem is people talk about Eddie Murphy's character as an adult as if he were still that ruthless ass kid. Talking about, oh man, he's got a temper, he's gonna snap this, that, and the other, but this motherfucker's joking around and shit. And it's like that the things that they're saying about this character are not what this character is clearly is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's implied. Like they talk about, like they said, quick to hit a motherfucker. Like it's implied, but you don't see it in Eddie Murphy.
Right.
As quick as Eddie Murphy, you don't see that that ruthlessness.
Right.
He's not even ruthless. More, he's just hot headed, hot tempered, or whatever like that. He's not even like ruthless. Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't. Yeah, it.
I believe it's you're having this in 2024 eyes, the same way when the first time I watched Gremlins and I was like, this shit is stupid.
Yeah.
And I believe it's like when I watch this now, it's kind of like I'm watching. When people talk about this movie, they talk about certain parts of this movie, like they talk about Arsenio Hall crying. They talk
Not
about the
funny.
guy shooting the well, I'm trying to, yeah. Well, did I laugh at all? Did I laugh at any of this in the movie when I watch this now? No, but it's I don't want to say
No,
this. It's like
I laughed when Arsenio Hall and Joanna Man were like lighting up that building Eddie Murphy was in, and that third guy would just take one shot. I thought that was funny. Not the first time he did it, the second time that happened, I thought that was funny.
But like I didn't laugh at all. But it's like I don't know how to explain it, but there's certain moments that people talk about with Harlem. That one, you shot off my pinky toe. There's like I don't know how to explain it, but there's certain moments that everybody talks about for Harlem Nights. That's like okay, but I just feel like if this was you're watching it in today's eyes, where when did this movie come out?
88, 89, something like
right,
that.
to where this was people was probably laughing their ass off for this.
No, I know they were, but it's just like okay, so like the thing is like you know how like I was like mad at the Book of Clarence because it's like you had a good idea for a story and you didn't really execute. And then you had this fucking top tier cast and you wasted everybody's time. That's how I feel about this because it's like you didn't have a strong script, and part of it was like, oh, let's just let these are funny people, let's let them ad lib. Like every time Della Reese was on screen, I'm gonna kick your ass. Like she just kept saying the same shit. Like, what is happening here?
And you could tell like a lot of that stuff was ad lib stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
So he was too young with I'm not even gonna put age in this. No one was in the room telling Eddie Murphy no. And the script needed like what the fuck was this plot, man? Like we have a gangster movie and now this is a fucking Ocean's 11?
Yes. And yes, exactly. Yes, it's a gangster movie to turn into Ocean's 11. I liked it. It was fun.
It was fine.
I'm not praising it, or I'm not gonna shit on it, but it was fun for what it was. But like you said, with this cast, it could have been more.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been more because Red Fox was in there. Red Fox, like, it could have been more. These people could have had better dialogue to present themselves better. Um,
It felt like Richard Pryor, someone had a gun pointed at Richard Pryor off screen in every one of his scenes. He is so subdued.
yeah, that's true. He wasn't really.
He wasn't
Yeah, he
Richard
was just.
Pryor.
Yeah, yeah. But I think I'm thinking about Red Fox to where Vera was like, "Oh yeah, do you have a woman for this guy?" She was like, "Yeah, I have a woman that her name
Sunshine.
no, I was trying to think of the what she said. She's like her pussy's like whatever the line she said." And uh somebody was like, "Nah, I don't want to meet that woman." And then Red Fox in the back, "Oh, I definitely want to meet her." So a
Yeah.
lot of the stuff, like all of the joke seems like it's probably a lot of ad-libbing for this movie.
Yeah.
Now I know we're gonna get to it later. I'm kind of curious of how much money it made.
Okay. I will say this, like as I'm watching it, and I know like, this is the one where people are like, if this was remade, I could see them like basically I hate these so much, but basically a legacy sequel where like the amount of time that has passed in real life has passed in the movie, and like you come back with Quick as basically Richard Pryor's age now, and it's like the 70s or 80s in New York, and he comes back to town and tries to build it back up.
Okay, so
But
I came up with a plot and I came up with a cast list, and basically that's what I thought of was because they leave New York, they leave Harlem, and basically the same thing to where all right, now he's older and whatever, and I want to go back to Harlem and do this, get my place back and start doing
I
this.
want to go back to Harlem and have some nights.
Yes. And I was
But
thinking like the
also,
70s because one thing is
yeah,
like the dressing of the cast and everything. I feel like if you did it in like the 70s with the bright colors and everything else like that, the furs, I think that
contrast.
will, yeah.
I can see that. But my only thing is like we saw what happened with Coming to America too. And so like I don't want that.
Because I don't want them to rely on Harlem Nights. I want
Right.
them, right. And that's what Coming to America, they relied too hard on the past and incorporating it in this one. No, Harlem, it's like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You have a base. Now you need to build around this base with some new stuff.
Even like with even with Eddie's own shit, Beverly Hills Cop 1 to Beverly Hills Cop 2,
Mm-hmm.
It's like don't do the exact same fucking thing.
Right.
So it's like I personally am fearful for Beverly Hills Cop 4, just like I was extremely disappointed with Coming to America 2.
Yeah, that was horrible.
So it's like we like nostalgia, but we also don't really like nostalgia.
No. We like the thought of nostalgia where,
Yeah.
oh, I used to love this back in the day. Let's bring it back. But then don't if I wanted to watch Coming to America, I'll watch Coming to America. So you don't need to put that in Coming to America too.
Right. So I don't know, but you asked. So the budget for this movie was
Wait,
30.
real quick. Hold on. Before that, don't you want to hear my cast?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, please.
Uh, Quick.
Wait.
Down.
This is a sequel, not a remake.
This is a. Oh, this is a sequel. This is a
Okay.
sequel.
Okay.
Yeah. As Quick, Donald Glover.
Wait. No. When does the sequel take place?
Oh, sorry, a remake then,
Okay.
or reimagined or whatever. With yeah, sorry, reimagined. Yeah, Quick is going to be Donald Glover.
Okay.
Vera, Monique.
Okay. I mean, topical, that Busta Rhymes video.
Yeah, that's true. Pastor Cavassier. Um, for Dominique LaRue, played by a Jasmine guy,
Yeah,
I have
Jasmine.
Journey Smollett.
Interesting. I thought you were gonna say
Zindi.
Zendaya.
Oh, I thought that was my first choice, but I'm like, nah, people go to her too
Oversaturated.
often. Right,
Yeah.
right. Um, and then for the Crying Man, Arsenio Hall, I thought of Marlon Wayans because he's a physical actor.
So, are you saying Eddie Murphy's playing Richard Pryor now?
That's the go-to, but it will make sense. But I don't feel like
So I
he this would be something that he would do. I know this is not my fictional world mind, but it would make sense for him to play Sugar Ray, but I don't know, like even in my fake mind that he would do this.
my fake mind. So like I looked at a few lists online about like other people casting this, and some people put Jamie Foxx as Richard Pryor.
He's older now.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, that could work too.
I mean, I don't know if I could see Jamie Foxx being Donald Glover's dad. Or, well, also that's fair because that's not actually his real dad. Okay, never
Right.
mind.
Yeah. And like then as I was laying this out, I was like, man, the whole point of Harlem Nights is to have like the
Three
comedians of the
generations.
time in
But
it.
like,
So
yeah, like I saw an interview where somebody asked him that recently, and he's like, I don't know who are three who the fuck are the comedians now? Like not
okay,
like young comedians, not a Kevin Hart.
okay, and that's what I'm saying. You have different levels now. You have the comedians of the Mike Epps, Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle's. That's one level right here.
Mm-hmm.
That could be one.
That's the
That's where
Richard
I
Pryor level. That's the Richard Pryor
well,
level.
that's the level, or that's the level I was going off of. Now you have the younger kids ones, or you have the Kevin on stage, the DC Young Fly, the damn.
Yeah, like who are they? Who?
Um,
I don't know. I mean, I've heard of DC Young Fly. He was in uh uh House Party.
right. I don't know who, but yeah, this is be like
Like who's got it? Like would Jared Carmichael be younger or the one like where does he line up? Because that's who I thought of. Because I'm thinking of like
he.
somebody with juice to actually that can possibly sell some fucking tickets, like a movie ticket.
The thing is, like these young comedians, you got to get with these young kids. Maybe these young kids probably not all these comedians, but I don't.
But and then also it's like the landscape is so different now though. Like
Right, because
where
now you
it's
got the
like,
streamers, the YouTubers are
yep.
famous, and like Drewski. You have him,
Who?
but
Who is that?
you got to be on social media.
That's what well, that's the thing. We are both on social media, but we're looking at different shit.
Right. And then you have see, yeah, the guys who put those skits together, I forget.
Oh yeah, those black dudes.
Yeah, you have
Yeah,
them that they're famous.
RD World or Tech or some shit like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, those dudes
So
are funny, but they
so
aren't
you have
movie stars.
right, but that's what I'm saying. Like for if you were putting this together for it's who are you putting this together for? Or if you're putting it together for our group, then you have the Moniques, the Marlon Wayans, and things like that. But if you're putting it from the 20-year-olds, then you have all those social media people on there. So it's like, who is this movie for? And my movie is for me.
Well, I mean, that's the thing too, because it's like, but the old heads, those are everybody's people though. So it would be a Monique or I actually was thinking because Monique is like, blacklisted. I was thinking of Octavia Spencer. What
Okay, yeah.
we'll have to get her to eat a little bit more because she's losing that weight, but
Right. Hey man, I mean, it all depends on who's making this movie, and is it going to be straight comedy? It could be a
this movie didn't know what
mixture.
it wanted to fucking be.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like like the acting depends on what you want this to be. And in my mind, I don't want it to be a straight comedy. I want some acting in this. Like
Yeah.
I want acting. I want jokes in there, but like I don't say there's a drama. It's not a drama, but I wanted it to be kind of serious, but with jokes in there, like a real thing, like
I
Mr. and Mr. Smith, kind of like
I
that.
I honestly would have really appreciated a straight up comedy. Honestly, like the the plot is serious, but the characters are not. If that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Right, right. I see what you're saying,
But
but
yeah,
that was also, oh, one more time. Bugsy Calhoun. You know what I felt for Bugsy Calhoun?
that's the
The
main bad
boss.
guy, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Kingpin.
Oh, Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
just typecasting this man.
Yep. And
Um,
then
uh,
the last one is Sunshine. I have
Zendaya.
Janelle Monae. Yeah. Yes. I
Let
think
me
that
let me hand you $30 million right now.
exactly. I told you I got this. I got this down. I
So
was like, what the what?
on the list that I looked at, the guy that Sunshine was rolling, they cast Seth Rogen, and I was like, I could see that.
Ooh, that is good. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Who's the cop?
Um, you didn't watch Underdogs, did you?
No,
Do you know who Andrew Schultz is?
Andrew Schultz. I feel like if I look him up,
He's a stand up.
I have a face in my brain. Hold up.
He's a stand up comedian. He also hosts a podcast called Brilliant Idiots with Charlemagne the God. And the reason why I picked him is because he played an underdogs, the coach against Snoop Dogg. He played, but basically, um, basically a racist type of thing, character. And I feel like he just like the way he played it was like he had jokes in there, but like he was just a hated person. And I feel like he could do that. He could do that role and be just a hated cop.
I don't see him on the IMDb list. You say Andrew?
Yeah, Andrew Schultz.
Okay, here it is. Let's see. Oh, no. That's not who I thought about. Is he Latino? What is this?
Nah, he white.
He got a little tan there. Okay. Okay. All right, that guy. The internet cast Jack Black, but I don't know about that.
Nah, because Jack Black ain't gonna be a racist.
We love Jack Black.
Right.
So the movie cost $30 million, and worldwide it grossed $60 million.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
that's bad.
Well, they made their money plus.
Not really. Because the Hollywood math is that the movie, if you double the budget, you still lost money because they spent money on advertising, which is not part of the budget.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it didn't do good.
No. No, compared to like the other movies he did around it, like Golden Child and Beverly Hills Cop 2, no.
Hmm.
And also Coming to America.
Yeah.
Those made hundreds of millions of dollars in the 80s.
I'm kind of curious. What were the critiques of the movie at the time? What were people saying? Like, why they didn't like it?
Let me see if that's on IMDb. Let me see. Harlem Nights. Also, every time I've had to type Harlem Nights, I've been wanting to write KNIT,
From
Batman.
yeah.
Let's see here. Here we go. That's from 2019. I want an overview. Can we get overviews? Let's see. What what's happening here? I got one all the way back from 2000. They don't. Oh, I guess that would make sense that they wouldn't be archiving shit from the 80s.
Right.
So one says from 2000, an uninspired cross between Cotton Club and the characters of Damon Renan, told in cliche so broad you could keep waiting for it to poke fun at itself, but it never does. Another one. It's nostalgic, misogynistic, and extremely mean-spirited. But I mean that was Eddie Murphy's comedy at the time. Like that's
Right.
let's be fucking real.
Right.
Um, does it matter to Eddie Murphy whether Harlem Nights is good or bad? It doesn't look like it. Also, he's going on record to say he doesn't really like this movie. Like,
Oh, he said that?
yeah, because like he feels like he didn't work on the script long enough. Because he banged it out like in a weekend.
Wow.
And then like what he thought was going to happen was like he was going to make a script, and like when he has his idols on, like when he's working with Red Fox and Richard Pryor, or especially Richard Pryor, it was going to be a collaborative thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Richard Pryor came in like this was a job. He came in, said his lines, he bullshit off stage, but he didn't give him any input on the movie
Oh,
because
okay.
this is a fucking job and he don't know
Right.
you.
Right.
So it really, he's not entirely happy about it as he's gotten older.
I get that now.
All right, what do you think the Rotten Tomatoes score was? Yes.
Uh 60%.
26%. Yikes.
Now, the other one should be high because people like this movie. So I
Yeah.
want to say 75.
80.
Okay, yeah. Damn. That's a big
Um
contrast.
where am I? Where the heck? Okay. All right. So, despite being set in Harlem, the entire film was shot in LA. The movie Life, which also stars Eddie Murphy, in the movie Life. His character says during his yard fight, "Hey man, I know a bitch named Della that hits harder than you." Eddie is referring to Della Reese, who he has a fight with during in a scene in Harlem Nights. And the $50,000 each that Ray promised everyone will be equivalent to $1 million
That's not a not that's not a lot to live off of.
in the 30s.
Oh, in the 30s?
Yeah,
I'm saying now, you said it's equivalent to $1 million now.
yeah,
Okay. But
yeah,
actually they weren't living off of, they were just relocating. So
yeah.
yeah.
All right, so where more is that? Listener email. Hey guys, I have been a fan for some time, and I've noticed recently you guys stopped doing trivia questions. Is there a reason for this?
No. The reason is that sometimes when we do these movies, they're fresh off the shelf and there is no trivia for those. So um if there's trivia, we're providing it. But a lot of these new movies, when we do them, there's
No,
just
the
not.
question is trivia questions, not trivia,
Oh, trivia questions.
because we haven't done a trivia question in like 3 or 4 weeks.
I don't know. I don't have a good answer why we haven't done it.
I do. In some cases, it's been time with the guests at the time that we have that week where we need to wrap it up. Other times, it feels like the show may be going a little bit long, and maybe you guys aren't really seeing that from your perspective of like, oh man, this episode was 50 minutes long. We talking about it's going over, but like there was stuff that had to be cut. So like, um, trivia, there has been all the background work that we do for trivia was done the last couple episodes. It just was not recorded.
But thank you. I'm glad we got people out there keeping us on our toes.
Keeping us honest. Yeah, so that takes us to the end of the show. For on our end, this was long as fuck, but on your end, your finished product will not be this long. Because this is 2 hours long right now on my counter, but I'm getting them scissors and I'm going snip, snip, snip. Thank you so much for listening. Please rate, like, and review our podcast on your platform of choice. Also, we're in the fuck are our trophies, Matt?
Oh yeah, whatever happened with that?
I keep looking at the email like did I miss something? Like no, we're still waiting. If you have any feedback, please email us at weusetotalkpod@gmail.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at We Used to Talk Pod. Come back next week when we review Creed. Also follow me on Letterboxd, BOW1213, Matt, Mr. King 0257.
You sounded so sad to say that.
Well, I thought I was good. Then I was like, oh wait, I gotta read this part too.
And like always, I don't know if this was a good episode. I don't know if it was a bad episode, but whatever you think about it, talk about it at work. Thank you for listening.